Did you know that consistent practice can lead to an over 300% improvement in skill over the course of a year?
Game begin.
Welcome to a fun retro-style video on how to get the most out of your practice time, no matter how much time you have available. I'm David Harsh with Guitar Success for You, and like you, I see the value of diligent practice. I'm also a child of the 80s, hence the pixelated graphics and the 8-bit chiptune music. We're gonna have some fun over these next few minutes. Now, if you're like me, your life is pretty full, but you also want to get better at this thing. Many guitarists I've met stay in a holding pattern and they sort of level out and plateau so they don't make much progress. Sometimes this lasts years, and that can be kind of frustrating, to say the least. What if I told you instead of leveling out, you could level up and find a fresh approach to a practice routine that could be easily broken down and applied to any schedule? Game on! These are the 7 levels of my recommended practice routine that can really help you, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned guitar player. The 7 levels are ready, pray, stretch, review, learn, look back, and simple stop. I'll explain each one of these, and if you stick around for the bonus level at the end, I think you'll appreciate my 3 pro tips that will give you extra momentum. As for these 7 levels of practice, in my experience, it's best to go in this order. As you hear what I'm about to share with you, please filter it through what your definition is of success. By the way, if you don't have one, please take some time to think of one, because there are people out there who might try to give you a definition of success, and it might actually be more for their benefit than for yours. But if you saw the opening animation for today's video, my passion is to help you find guitar success for you. If you're a beginning guitarist, maybe success to you in this season means learning some basic chords and a simple song. If you're more of an intermediate guitarist, maybe you want to expand your techniques to include fingerstyle, some more intricate strumming patterns, and add to your repertoire of worship songs. Your journey is your journey, your race, your pace, right? Okay, so level 1 is ready. Now, if you've been watching some of the content on this channel, you know that I love Jesus, and it's important to me to play well for His glory. When I'm practicing, I'm actually sharpening my skills, and the enemy, the devil, does not like that. Suffice it to say, I'm not on neutral ground. I'm actually preparing for battle, and in some cases, I'm doing battle as I practice. So for me, my practice space is my battle station. Now, you may or may not be on the same page with me spiritually, but even if you don't believe there's an unseen force at work that wants to slow you down or stop you, you probably see the value in at least getting your practice area squared away so that you can get better at your instrument. I think we can both agree how important that is. Let me paint a visual picture for you. This is my practice space right after a gig. I've got my guitar in its case. A lot of things are just waiting to be unpacked and put in place. It's pretty hard to practice with my space like this. But really, it only takes a few minutes to put things where they need to go. I can even listen to some of the music I'm going to be working on as I get my practice space in order. Once it's looking good and I've got my music in place, my tools nearby like my pencil, my metronome, and my capo, and I have a full water bottle nearby, I need to make sure my guitar is tuned up. There's nothing like an out-of-tune guitar to decrease morale. Now, look at that. That's a battle station that is ready for practice. By the way, just a side note, one of the 5 instant bonuses that our members of Guitar Success for You receive when they join is a deluxe PDF called 10 Tips for Making Your Solo Practice Space Great. And ready is the final tip in that PDF. It's pretty sweet. Okay, so that's level 1, ready. Level 2 is pray. This is actually probably the most important part of the practice routine for me because it helps me align my vision with what the Lord wants me to focus on. So I say a quick prayer like, Lord, this is for you and for your glory. So please show me what to focus on and train my hands so that I can play well for you. Simple. Less than 30 seconds is enough to get into a posture of focusing on the Lord as I develop my skills. Level 3 is to stretch. Do you do any stretches before you play your guitar? Our hands are super important. Not just for guitar, but also for lots of things we'll do throughout our day. So stretches can really be an essential part of our practice routine. In one of the early lessons inside Guitar Success for You, I teach the 3 most important stretches I've used for decades. These have literally saved my hands. I'll show you the simplest, easiest one. It's to place your hands together at the fingertips and slowly extend them as you apply gentle pressure. Stretches can be preventative. I've met a handful of guitarists who have played so much and who may or may not have taken time to carefully stretch before they play. Some of them have injured their hands by playing strenuous music for too long. This has resulted in them having to stop playing for a while, undergo carpal tunnel surgery, etc. Nobody wants that. I'm thinking of putting together a video on our channel here about how to protect our hands. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so now that we've gotten our practice space ready, we've prayed, and we've stretched, let's move on to level 4, review. This is basically an opportunity for us to go back to something we've been working on and play through it intentionally. This is not the time for new material yet, but instead a chance to remind our hands and minds of what we worked on last time. It could be a few chords, a strumming pattern, or even a song we've been developing. Review is essential because although we've been away from the instrument, something really cool has been happening, whether we know it or not. Our minds have been subconsciously working out some of the details of our music. We may find ourselves inadvertently humming along, tapping a tempo, or visualizing something from our past practice session. Side note, this is why it's better to have several shorter practice sessions than one long one. It gives our hands and mind a break, but also allows us to come back refreshed and ready to build on what we've been working on. More often than not, when I sit down to practice something I've been working on, the notes are even more established under my fingers because of this rhythm of practicing, resting, practicing, resting. So now that we've reviewed what we were working on last time, it's time for level 5. This is the main part of the practice routine. I've named it Learn because this is when we take focused time to learn what we want to be able to play. We may now build on what we were working on last week, or we may embark on something totally new. We may embark on the next part of a fingerstyle guitar solo, or we may start learning a totally new worship song. We may intentionally discover a new concept like a new sequence of scales up the neck, a strumming pattern, or a whole new set of chords for a song we are learning. This is not the time for mindless noodling on the instrument. This is the pinnacle of our practice session where we move the boundary further ahead on our journey. As far as how to approach this, I would encourage you to really lean in. You may choose to play along with an instructional video like one of the lessons in our 6-stage success path inside Guitar Success for You. Or perhaps you have a guitar teacher who has assigned something very specific to you to work on for your next lesson. This is where that happens. Rather than skipping around and sampling a bunch of different concepts that could lead to a hasty glossing over of the notes, this is where a steady, deliberate approach will get you the most results. Don't rush this. Take it apart and put it back together. Work out the challenges. If necessary, zoom in on just 2 notes or a single chord transition. Don't compromise on clean playing. I'd rather you have command of 4 solid chords than 40 clumsy chords, right? Reduce it to the ridiculous. It's in the details that our guitar playing can really be sharpened. Then take a moment to grab a sip of water if you need to, but really let your mind focus on the skill or piece you're developing. Don't forget to write in your music or on your digital tablet. Mental notes rarely stick. Circle problem spots. Put the B in subtle and get everything you can from this opportunity. Once you've got a song at tempo, you could play along with the actual recording to see how well you stay on track. You could even make an audio recording of yourself playing so that you could go back and constructively critique what you sound like. But don't bite off too much. Do some good work here and enjoy the opportunity to learn. Okay, level 6 is look back. This is where we can pause and think back over what we've been doing during this practice time, especially in the review and learn levels. What have we been working on? What do we need to keep in mind as we go forward? Most importantly, what sort of progress did we make today? Did we turn a corner? Did we tackle a chord or fingerstyle pattern? Did we get through the next page or two of a new song? Was there an obstacle we overcame or at least became more aware of? Looking back is an important part of the process because it will inform what we want to work on as we continue forward. Celebrating those simple victories, those small wins, can really boost our morale. Speaking of morale, we can finish up with level 7 with what I call the simple stop. This is where we can play something so simple that it's almost comical. We need to play something here that we can do with very little effort. It's like a shot that we can't miss. I learned this lesson very early on when I was first learning to play tennis in junior high. I had a coach who had me finish every practice by hitting the ball over the net in bounds. That's all. I wasn't serving, I wasn't playing against an opponent. I just had to hit the ball over the net into the green zone of the opposite court. Why was this important? So I could finish simply and finish strong. It's a real boost to our morale to play something we know we can play. This gives us an opportunity to say, yes, I can do this. Imagine what would happen, maybe you don't have to imagine it, if you finished a practice session by struggling through something you were trying to play and you didn't actually land it. Your playing fell apart, you did not play like you wanted to, and then you stopped. What sort of lasting impression would that leave in your mind? Not a great one, right? In fact, it could be negative enough that you just might not feel all that great about practicing again anytime soon. So finish simply and strong as you wind down your practice. Play a chord, a chorus, a scale, or something that you could probably play with your eyes closed, and then call it good. So the 7 levels, once again, are ready, pray, stretch, review, learn, look back, and simple stop. Now, if you're still here, that means you're ready for the bonus level, which includes my 3 pro tips. Before I give them to you, would you consider my invitation to like, subscribe, and ring the bell? I hope you do. We've got more great videos coming, and we want you to know about them as soon as they drop. Okay, the 3 bonus pro tips I promised you here on our bonus level. First pro tip. Practically speaking, it's good to quickly document what you did in some way, so you can sit down next time and be easily reminded. Jot something in a little practice notebook, or in a spreadsheet, or in the memo section of your phone, but record it somehow so you can track your progress. Second pro tip. I encourage you to practice at your best time of day. I asked a Facebook group of guitarists what their ideal practice time was, and I got answers that were literally around the clock. Some folks practiced first thing in the morning, others on their lunch break, and some right after work. Some even practiced late into the night, like 2 a.m. My best time of day is morning, right after the kids head to school. I find that as the day goes on, willpower is not unlimited, and that if I let the day get away from me, I just might not get it done. Third pro tip, know when to stop for the day. Watch out for what I call the fuzz factor. This happens when I start to make all kinds of silly mistakes in places I never make them. If my mind or my hands are tired, I may actually practice incorrectly and learn the music wrong. So instead of trying to push through and get frustrated, there's no harm in pausing, even for the rest of the day. Were those pro tips helpful? As we're winding down for today, just remember, you get out of your practice what you put into it. It's good to spend quality time practicing your guitar. I encourage you to avoid making huge promises like, I'm going to practice for 5 hours every day. Because that's probably not sustainable, right? Instead, be realistic and think about what could fit in your schedule. But do make time. We make time for what's important to us. Can we spend only 5 minutes and get through all 7 of these levels? Possibly. You might be moving pretty quickly, but you could do it. I'd say somewhere in the 15 to 30 minute range will give you more traction though. But I don't recommend practicing for more than an hour at a time without a break. Well, we've come to the end of today's video. I'm excited to see how this process goes for you and what you think of what I shared today. I invite you to leave a comment talking about your own practice routine and what has worked well for you. And if you want to apply this newfound practice routine to something right away, this strumming workout video is getting a lot of very positive responses here on our channel. And I invite you to check it out, as well as other videos we've created here for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.